Imagine this. You're born full of life, laughing, playing, listening to your mother's voice. Then one day, darkness falls. Silence takes over. The world disappears. You cannot see. You cannot hear. You cannot speak. Black question mark emoji. Now let me ask you something. Can someone who is blind, deaf, and mute not only survive, but actually succeed in life? Most people would say no. But today, I want to tell you the story of someone who defied every limit, broke every wall, and proved the impossible possible. Stay with me till the end, because the answer to that question might just change the way you see your own life.
Helen Keller, a light in the dark. In a quiet town in Alabama, on a warm summer day in 1880, a baby girl was born to the Keller family. Her name was Helen. She was a healthy child, bright, lively, curious. Her parents adored her. She giggled when tickled, followed the sound of her mother's voice, and reached eagerly for the sunlight streaming through the windows. But fate had a different plan. At just 19 months old, Helen fell seriously ill. High fever, congestion, and what doctors of the time called a sudden acute congestion of the stomach and brain. Her family feared for her life. And though she miraculously survived, the illness left her forever changed. Helen was now deaf, blind, and mute. The world she had begun to explore faded into silence and darkness. She couldn't hear her mother's lullabies. She couldn't see the colors of the flowers in the garden. And she couldn't speak even the simplest word. Imagine being trapped in a body that cannot see, hear, or express feelings. That was Helen's world. At first, she grew wild and frustrated. She would lash out, throw tantrums, and struggle to communicate even her most basic needs. Her parents, though loving, were overwhelmed. How could they help a child living in such complete isolation? But hope came in the form of a young woman named Anne Sullivan, a determined teacher with a story of hardship herself, and had experienced partial blindness and understood struggle. She saw not a helpless child in Helen, but a soul longing to connect, and became Helen's teacher, mentor, and most of all, her bridge to the world. Their first meeting wasn't easy. Helen resisted discipline. She didn't understand what Anne was trying to do. But Anne was patient. She began spelling words into Helen's hand using finger spelling, a method where each letter of the alphabet is signed into the palm. At first, it was just patterns to Helen. Motions she couldn't make sense of. But Anne didn't give up. Then, one day, everything changed. Anne took Helen outside to the water pump. She let cold water run over Helen's hand while spelling water into her other hand. Over and over again. Suddenly, a miracle happened. Helen paused. Her body stilled. Something clicked. She realized that the cool, flowing substance touching her hand had a name. That the signs in her palm represented ideas, objects, feelings. In that moment, Helen understood the power of language. She became unstoppable. She learned word after word. Dozens in a day. She was hungry to know, to feel, to speak in her own way. The dark prison that had trapped her mind for years was cracking open. With Anne's help, Helen began to write. She learned to read Braille. She even learned to speak by placing her fingers on people's throats to feel the vibrations of speech. Her progress stunned everyone. By age 10, Helen was reading and writing fluently. By 20, she had mastered several methods of communication. And by 24, she had become the first deafblind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree, graduating from Radcliffe College, side by side with students who could see and hear. But Helen didn't stop at academic success. She became an author, writing multiple books about her life and her philosophy. She became a public speaker, delivering powerful talks across the world. She became a voice for the voiceless, an advocate for people with disabilities, for women's rights, for education, and for justice. Helen met presidents. She inspired millions. And she never let her disabilities define her. She once said, "The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision." Helen Keller lived until the age of 87. She passed away in 1968, but her legacy shines brighter than ever. Not just as a woman who overcame incredible odds, but as someone who believed that every person, regardless of their limitations, has a right to dream, to learn, and to live fully.
So, can a person who is blind, deaf, and mute live a normal life? Helen Keller didn't live a normal life. She lived an extraordinary one. She showed the world that disability does not mean inability. That silence does not mean weakness. That darkness does not mean the end. You see, limitations are often external, but strength comes from within. Helen's story teaches us that every soul has a light inside it. Sometimes it just needs someone, like Anne Sullivan, to help it shine. And maybe that someone could be you. Or maybe the one who needs help shining is you yourself. Never forget, you are stronger than your struggles, braver than your fears, and more capable than you've ever been told. Helen Keller didn't just survive. She triumphed. And so can you.
What can we learn from Helen Keller? That strength isn't found in muscles, but in the will to keep going. That limitations can be real, but they do not define your potential. That with the right support, even the darkest path can lead to light. And that one person, like Anne Sullivan, can change someone's life forever. Helen's story is more than history. It's a reminder. A reminder to never give up. To find light, even in the dark. And to believe that every soul, no matter how silent, can shine.